Please note, this is just a review of the final work and not an endorsement of the creator. Any opinion or prior action belonging to the creator involved, unless otherwise stated, are not factors in this review. Thank you and enjoy!
Hey guys, StarCraft here. Getting back to my The Ends as we go over one that you can probably tell is very well loved as far as reading wise, and that's The Punisher: The End by Garth Ennis and Richard Corbin. This one, well, and it's more obvious The Punisher Max The End, but this one, when it says The End, it really means it. As the cover of the site opens up soon, as it says. As we see someone being told, you are ordered to shoot shoot the prisoners. All of them is where at Sing Sing. And basically we see this warden talking with the governor talking with this man, basically being told about how they want to make that things are about to go south real fast with politics. The peace talks can't be restarted. The Chinese want tanks out of Burma. And they don't want to make sure there's no murderers and dope dealers running around in an atomic wasteland. So they're being put out of their misery. Basically they're waiting there, basically like how long will it take? Could be any second now for all we know. And they're ready for one last drink as they look out the window. Meanwhile at Sing Sing, we see the guards there see a bunch of dropped weapons. It's like, hey, they took off, probably go be with their women, which means the joke's on them because right under this block is the bomb shelter for the prison staff. Means the joke's on my C word of a wife too, come to think of it. Anyway, basically he starts explaining about, the bomb shelter. They're meant to reopen it up and get it all taken care of. Nice little hidey hole. And as they're going down, this other guy just starts talking to another fellow guard about, he's talking about the Punisher. Basically explaining how, they were like, one motherfucker would have killed every inmate we got. They had to shut him up down here and basically in D block. Dude had his own private war on crime, etc., etc. Once eventually he gets old and they bust his ass, and he winds up getting sent here, which got to be Christmas morning. He's off in criminals all of a sudden, and all of a sudden he's got a captive audience. He's gone through 36 of them before they finally throw him down here. As they're looking through, they see someone, might be the Punisher, when all of a sudden the lights go off. And it turns out they hear a big bang, and yeah, the nukes were dropped up. Like, let's just finish up here and get down to the bunker. But at the end, it was revealed someone grabbed their gun and was like, "Ain't got your motherfucking rifle." Then who the fuck has? Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, gotta point this out. And advertisement for the Daredevil video game that never came out. Look up Unseen 64 for their video about it, because it's a shame. This was going to be a good game. But, yeah, it's like a few years later, as we see a boot kicking out, this old man coming out, like talking to a guy named Frank. Well, which is Frank Castle, obviously. And that's what happened. They made the clouds bird. And basically, Frank and this other guy, hold on. I don't give him his name yet at all, but as they're walking through, basically turns out we're dead pretty much in 72 hours. So yeah, it is a year later. Basically, they're saying, the guy even was like, I didn't want to die down there alone. So they keep on walking out as run away in the bomb shelter. If it's the end of the world, can't think of anything better to do. As they're walking through the cars that were left there, the bombs were so sudden. As Frank is narrating again in his old war journal, and basically saying now, the electromagnetic pulse just took out the engines, and then fallout wasn't that far behind. Eventually, they get into a bus to spend the night. when asked, like what's going on, basically saying now war on terror. Yeah, you call it on Iraq, people laugh. You didn't say it too. China and the whole world blows up in your face. As he gives them a can of food, I think beans. And the guy's even saying like, what are you doing? Why are you keeping up? And he says, there's no work to be done. You mean killing, right? Yes. Jesus effing Christ. As when he says there's still a choice between right and wrong, nothing's changed. He says, what about Kenning? Kenning went crazy. I hadn't shot him. He'd have opened up the hatches, exposed us to the radiation. Young and Leary, they tried to eat Kenning. But why would it matter? I mean, we've got going around in circles with this. I know where I'm going. I know why. You can't say the same, then too bad. And he then eats, as they soon make it to Brooklyn. And, yeah. Wow. It's devastated. There's no superpowers. There's almost no one alive. And that's basically what a lot of this is talking about. As they're walking over the scene, that Frank is starting to bleed out of his nose and eyes. Yeah, the radiation is starting to take its toll. The guy with them ends up, actually, let me double check the narration. He had to say his name at one point. Hold on. Paris Peters, who was a con guy. Yeah, Paris ends up puking and there's blood in it. Even Frank's like, there ought to be. They're making their way to a secret bunker. When he was even going, gave you the coat, a guy named Teach, who they end up gave him a coat. He was dying. As they go on in, then a train gas knocks him out right away. They're soon woken up by this woman who basically saying, trying to tell him like, you're all sick, you're dying. We're sorry about all this. Trying to make you comfortable, but I say, how'd you get here? I mean, we thought you saw you were from Washington, but they haven't been able to raise them for months. You didn't come from LA, did you? And he's like, well, you have to be one of us. How was what you hold the knife at his throat? Call them in now. As soon as they come in, he starts killing them all with the scalpel. Takes one of the guns as the woman's bleeding with them, like, please, we'll help you out, but if this is for us, there's nothing we can do for you. He shoots her, saying she was part of it. And they go in, it was Frank with more guns, and he just starts unloading on everyone, blasting them all. And he was saying how these people, they ran the great industry, the millionaires and business people. They were expert salesmen. These were the men who could sell anything to anyone. Puppets of presidents and started wars for profit. And he's like, they pushed the planet's luck way too far. Frank has utterly lost it, in other words. Then he makes his way in where everyone else is left in a room because of standard procedure. As they're like, who are you? He just says, you should have just killed William Teacher. Oh, Christ. They basically say, he was an MIT guy who helped build these bunkers. And yeah, he ran into Frank. Basically explained how the day the war began, he was in the prison hospital, which wasn't that far from D Block. So he was able to be there and waited there. Then while he was there, he eventually explains everything about them. But someone stabbed him before he could get them. And when he was dying, he just explained everything, using his will and live. Basically, he called these guys the Covens, oil men and generals, computer billionaires and senators, captains of the industry. And basically explained how they hired him to design bunkers, deepen up the survival fallout, have cloning facilities to be able to restart everything based off of their own genetics. Teach started to have doubts on everything, and so they decided to frame him and lock him up. Then Teach gave him everything because he knew Frank would deal with it all. And he's about ready to shoot him when one guy says, like, please, I'm begging you, just wait. You're going to kill us anyway, so what difference does it make? I'm not going to try and buy you off. Money's obviously meaningless now. I'm not going to have you, obviously, off your plate to see here because, well, Frank, you're dying anyway. So we just asked him just to listen to this message from the bunker. And we're basically hearing the President of the United States and the Secretary of State. Yeah. Basically says how everyone else is gone. The LA bunker, they use firearms on each other. They kept on hearing all this other stuff. They're the only people left. Yes, they have a bank of frozen embryos to which they can expect the human race's survival. They're the only ones alone who could do it. What he said, I just want to see it. Do what you have to do. And Frank shoots them, guns them all down. The last vestige of the human race. Good, innocent, it don't matter. They're all dead. And when Paris says to him, like what? And what about what he said? Frank just says, the human race. You see what that lets do. To which he asks the big question of, how did a small con guy get sent to D block? To which he explains how he would set fires for insurance fraud. One of those fires was right near his school. He was sent to D block because all the other criminals would tear him apart. Then he said, like, I want to see if you admit it. Did you want to be judged, or could you just not summon up the balls for suicide? You see what I mean about the human race? Then Frank strangles him to death, leaving him the last human on Earth. As he's reminiscing about his family and everything, he eventually walks off, rips off a chunk of his scalp, and walks right into a fire. Basically saying how he's explaining everything that happened that day. My family, my wife, my son, my daughter. Maybe this time I'll be there in time to save him. As he walks, burning himself alive. The end. This is just depressing. What do you expect though from Garth Ennis? But it deconstructs the notion of the apocalypse, nuclear apocalypse. Oh, there's gonna be people running around. No, none of that. Although Frank going that far to basically ensuring that humanity was doomed, that feels like the ultimate ending for Punisher, yes, but it just feels a bit too like, really, Garth? You really went there? Hey, you can't get any more the end than that. Now, of course, Frank would eventually get a different death in Punisher Max by Jason Aaron, which was tied into the Max line, so that was a different death altogether. I am not going over that. One, I don't have him on me, but two, also, it's a different story altogether. Maybe one day if I get him, but anyway, that's Punisher the End. But tune in tomorrow when I'm going to go over another Punisher quasi the end. What if the Punisher kills the Marvel Universe? See you guys then.